What led to Ferrari's key F1 design flaw? The story begins with their high hopes for the season. Coming off a strong performance in 2022, Ferrari entered the new season with serious title aspirations. Their dreams, however, were quickly dashed during preseason testing when they found themselves outpaced by Red Bull's advancements. The Red Bull RB19 was nothing short of a revelation, making Ferrari's SF23 seem lackluster in comparison. Yet, it wasn't all doom and gloom for Ferrari. The season wasn't without its triumphs. The only non-Red Bull victory of the season was theirs for the taking, and the dynamic duo of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz managed to secure 6 pole positions. Their car's concept, heavily based on the previous year's model, did have merits, but was unfortunately overshadowed by the superior performance of Red Bull's design. In the end, Ferrari, much like the rest of the F1 world, was taken aback by the sheer potential of Red Bull's aerodynamic and suspension platforms. While Ferrari experienced some victories, they were blindsided by the potential of Red Bull's aerodynamic and suspension platforms. Ferrari's design flaw lies in the continuation of a concept that proved to be misleading. The concept in question is the fat-fronted outwashing side pod. This concept, which had worked well enough to be fully competitive with Red Bull in the first part of the previous year, led the team to believe they could compete with full power and some light chassis tweaking. However, this was a miscalculation. The side pod concept, while initially successful, underestimated Red Bull's development potential. The team at Red Bull had been hard at work during the off-season, improving their aerodynamics and suspension platforms. Ferrari, like many others in the F1 circuit, was taken by surprise by the leaps and bounds Red Bull made in their development. This underestimation was a crucial misstep for Ferrari. They had put their faith in a concept that, while it had shown promise, was unable to keep up with the rapid advancements made by their competitors. Instead of pushing the boundaries and seeking out new design solutions, they chose to stick with what had worked in the past. Ferrari's faith in their concept led them down a path of underestimation and eventual disappointment. Ferrari's design flaw became evident as they attempted to squeeze more aero load from their concept. The team's strategy revolved around the fat-fronted outwashing side pod concept, which had been successful enough to compete with Red Bull in the first part of 2022. But as they pushed for more aero load, the airflow couldn't satisfy both the underfloor and the floor sides. This led to a suspected sudden detachment at high speeds. And what was the result? An unpredictable rear-end snappiness in fast corners, particularly when crosswinds played their part. These fat-fronted side pods, designed to usher the wake of the front tires well away from the car, were falling short. Without an undercut in the pods beneath the radiator inlets, the air wasn't accelerated along the floor edges as forcefully as in the Red Bull's classic design. The airflow, though clean and unaffected by the front wheel wake, was not as effective. The main difference between the 22 and 23 cars lay around the lower front of the side pod. It had been channeled out to reposition the tunnel inlets for the underfloor, shifting the focus from high-speed to medium-speed corner performance and boosting straight-line speed. This would have been perfect against the 22 Red Bull. Against the 23 Red Bull, not even close. The limitations of Ferrari's concept were becoming increasingly evident, leading to performance issues on the track. Despite the challenges and disappointments, there were also lessons learned for Ferrari. The main differences between the 22 and 23 cars played a pivotal role in the performance on the track. The alterations around the lower front of the side pod, the channeling out to allow the tunnel inlets for the underfloor to be placed in a better position, shifted the emphasis from high-speed to medium-speed corner performance. This gave the car better straight-line speed, a change that would have been ideal against the 22 Red Bull. Against the 23 Red Bull, however, it was insufficient. Ferrari lost second place in the Constructors to Mercedes only on the last lap of the season, a bitter pill to swallow. Yet, it's important to remember that success is often built on a foundation of failure. The operational errors were still present, but perhaps not as glaring as before. There was a silver lining, though. The team always seemed to be quicker into the car's sweet spot at the beginning of a weekend than either Red Bull or Mercedes, a positive development, especially in sprint weekends. While Ferrari's design flaw led to a challenging season, the lessons learned will undoubtedly contribute to their future strategies and designs.